Welcome to Sharp or Square, presented by Hard Rock Bet. We are part of the Volume Podcast Network. This is the show that makes the square sharper and makes the wise guys pay attention all off-season long, because we will be dropping a lot of knowledge about futures, including a little bit in today's episode. I am Chad Millman. I am joined by my BFF, my companion, my co-host, my compadre, professional bettor, Simon Hunter. Hello, Simon.
Chad, how we doing?
Look, it's the off season for football now. There's still a ton to talk about. Like, I have been on the road. No joke. It's February 12th today. Since the season began, since the year began, I have been in Atlanta for the Peach Bowl, Miami for the national championship game. Then I was in Philly to see my older kid, DC to see my younger kid. And then this past weekend, I was away for the Super Bowl doing reporting on my book. And I'm going away to LA for NBA All-Star this week. Go back to California for a trip. Come back, go to Boston for Sloan. I don't feel like it's the off season, Simon. I feel like it's busier than ever.
Yeah, for football, I would say as a pro, usually I do disappear for 2-3 weeks here because this is our little off season, and then obviously dive right back in the combine and the NFL draft. And the NFL now really is 365. It kind of never ends. So I'm with you. It's the type of life now where it's always in the back of your mind, and even when you're doing other stuff, you're always thinking, and am I missing something? Should I be betting some teams' futures right now? And just like everyone else, can't wait for the draft, obviously, but my favorite day is when all the books start leaking those week one lines. So yeah, like we said, people, our diehards obviously will listen the whole offseason. If you're just a football fan and you're checking in and out, definitely check in on our future show. We talk NFL just because we do give out good info. I mean, last year we gave out our favorite long shots for each division. We gave out the Patriots. We gave out gave out sound reasoning about why we did like the Patriots. And like we said, every division we're not going to nail, but we'll go through every one obviously and just try to give a preview about what we're seeing this upcoming season. So yeah, it's like we always talk about. It's we talk other sports. Obviously, we have really smart guests on that predict other sports, and even looking ahead this year, off season wise for the NFL, I can't wait. Right, we got the Olympics right now, and then we have the World Cup in the summer. So obviously, we have all of our major sports in America, but we have a lot of great other sports going on right now that I want to get action on. So yeah, it's a fun time right now for a sports fan.
It's fun anytime to be a sports fan. I mean, our jobs are so silly. Speaking of silly, it's our traditional NFL offseason mailbag episode. So we get a lot of questions throughout the year, and then especially once the season is over. So Matt Mitchell's been going through the mailbag and compiling them. We're going to look at them today. If you ever have any questions for us, you can always DM me and Simon at the various socials. You could also just email producer Matt Mitchell anytime, sharporsquare@gmail.com. We love to hear from you. We love answering questions. We love interacting with the folks who are listening and watching. Obvious one. Everyone's been talking about it for the past 48 hours. I mean, this is what's crazy about media. There is no rest. There is no celebration. I was flying back on Monday from where I was back to Connecticut, and I had a layover, and I'm sitting in one of the lounges, and they got First Take on, and I swear to God, Cam Newton and Ryan Clark and Dan Orlovsky were doing First Take from Disneyland, and they looked like they were going to throw down about who were the better quarterbacks than Sam Darnold in the NFC. Ryan Clark looked like he was about to cry about it. Cam Newton was apoplectic about it. Dan Orlovsky was literally standing up. And I'm thinking to myself, you guys just can't care that much about who you're saying are better quarterbacks in the NFC than Sam Darnold right now, who 12 hours earlier had won the freaking Super Bowl, one of the best postseason performances we've ever seen. The voice of reason on the show. The only person who was calm was Stephen A. Smith. That was it. Everyone else was losing their shit. Stephen A. Smith was like, guys, this is what it is. This is why Dak Prescott can't be listed as a better quarterback than Sam Darnold right now in the NFC. My point for all this is I've given it some grace. We like to celebrate. But now it's Thursday. It's time to start talking about NFL offseason futures. Super Bowl 61 odds at Hard Rock Bet right now. The Los Angeles Rams, the Seattle Seahawks, the Buffalo Bills at plus 1,100. The Rams and the Seahawks are both at plus 900. Those are the shortest odds right now. The Ravens plus, looks like 1,300. Packers plus 1,400. Eagles, Simon, they're at plus 1,400. Have you looked at any of these yet? Have you given any serious thought to these yet?
Not really. Like I did put a single bet on the Chiefs because I book did hang them at 15-1, and it's like, all right, I can't walk by that number and not bet it. Even though I really do think the Chiefs feel like they might be in the middle of a little bit of a rebuild here because they haven't drafted too great, but the coaching they have and the quarterback, I just feel like if any team can find a way, we know it's them. And at 15-1, I know Pat's coming off a serious injury here, but that one felt too egregious. And yeah, for long shots, I'm already 0 for 1 this year. I said it was kind of a fun bet to throw a flyer on Cleveland at like 150-1. Yeah, they've only gotten worse.
Yeah.
Jim Schwartz is out the building. It's just all bad there. So that I'm definitely moving off that position. Jumped out to me. Our guy Shuck, 125-1 Saints for Super Bowl. I thought that was a little bit of interesting. And the Panthers are 110-1. I thought that was a little interesting. So the NFC South, they're just the two teams that popped out to me right away. And I know some pros who have bet the Giants at 70-1. I don't feel like that's good enough odds. I feel like I need 80 or 90-1 to bet on Dart to stay healthy for a whole season with a new coaching staff and Harbaugh. So if people want to know what pros have taken a position on, I know a couple of pros have taken a position on the Giants, not so much these other long shots I've talked about.
I'm glad you're bringing that up. You just mentioned a couple things that are in the questions that people have been asking us about. And we're going to get to it in a second. One is about the Chiefs. One is about coaches that were on, coaches that were off. Harbaugh, Munkin. There's other coaches, Mike LaFleur just signed with Arizona, Clint Kubiak going to the Raiders. Like there's a lot of new names and old names and new places that we're going to get to. Look, you've got the two AFC South teams, the Texans and the Jags at 20-1, the Bears 22-1. I won't get sucked in with the Bengals. I won't get sucked in with the Colts. I won't get sucked in with the Chargers. I'm Lions curious at 15-1. Like if their defense ever stays healthy, they've got a new offensive coordinator. That's intriguing to me. I'm looking for second-year coaches. I should reframe that because I probably will get sucked in with the Jaguars. I like the second-year coaches who I think had proven in that first year they understand how to build a system, and they showed improvement over the course of the year. The Jaguars had that. Can you get over Trevor Lawrence? The Texans have shown it. Can you get over C.J. Stroud? The Broncos, can you get over Bo Nix? I'm curious why you didn't mention any of those three teams all at 20-1.
I just don't like the value. They're all so clustered. And I just, with those type of teams, I have a feeling if one of them start 0-2, I get way better value. And that's what I'll be picking, because this year the books have simply said we have no idea, right? Usually
really
at this
have.
point of the year, we have a team that's plus 500, plus 400, odds on Super Bowl favorite. The Seahawks are double that. They're plus 800. Like, that's really telling by the books about how wide open everything is. So, I talk all the time. I'm wide open about what I look for with people and how what's been great and beneficial to me long term, where I find success in winning: offensive line, defensive line. And if I'm making a Super Bowl future bet right now, if I only can make one bet, you must pick a team that either has a dominant offensive line or a dominant, well-known defensive line. And sounds very lazy and boring. It's held true, it feels like, almost every year. I mean, you could say the Patriots are a little fluky. They'd have a great offensive line. I think they had a pretty dominant defensive line in many ways, right?
They had a really good defensive line.
And
by the way, let me just reiterate your point. Last year it was the Eagles, dominant offensive line, dominant defensive line. This year, the Seahawks, dominant offensive line, dominant defensive line. When the Chiefs were winning, they had a really good defensive line. Like, that's not a.
You have their Hall of Famer on your offensive now in the Bears.
Joe Tooney, offensive lineman of the year.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, it sounds like I'm beating a dead horse here, people, but look for that. That's something that the general population, they still overlook it. They don't realize how important it is, and they're just all blinded by the big names, right? Like, I was honestly tempted to take, Josh Allen at 11-1, 12-1 right now. Like, that's very tempting. This guy is the best. He played on a broken foot. If he didn't have a meltdown in that Denver game, they could have easily won the Super Bowl this year. Like, he would have gave real problems to that Seahawks defense, his running style and his deep arm ability. Like, you saw the Seahawks, their real Achilles was being beat downfield on certain type of passes. That's why Stafford could rip them, right? Those two tight end sets, they dominated the Seahawks. Guess who runs a ton of two tight end sets? The Bills. So if you're looking for an AFC team that could challenge a Seahawks team, the Bills got to be right up there. The only reason I'm not giving them out is just it doesn't feel like it's enough value here for me. Like, if they had an established number one receiver, that feels like good odds to me. But without a number one receiver I can truly trust still, which I think is something they'll address, I don't know if I can be putting money on the Bills yet.
Well, that leads directly into the second question from our fans, which is, we've got 10 new head coaches in the NFL this upcoming season. Of those 10 situations, and I'll read them, let's pick 2 we love and 2 we hate. Arizona Cardinals, Mike LaFleur, previously with the Rams. Falcons, Kevin Stefanski, previously with the Browns. Baltimore Ravens, Jesse Minter. Buffalo Bills, Joe Brady. Cleveland Browns, Todd Monken. Clint Kubiak, coming from the Seahawks to the Raiders. Jeff Hafley, going from the Packers to the Dolphins. John Harbaugh, from the Ravens to the Giants. Mike McCarthy, from the Cowboys to the Steelers. And then Robert Saleh to the Titans. I've got a very...
Two I hate. I just...
Hold on. I was going to say one thing.
Sure.
I've got a counter take on the one I hate the most.
That's why you stopped me. Jesus Christ, Chad. Yeah, for the 2 I hate, I mean, I don't know how anyone has confidence in Arizona or Miami. Those feel like total tear down rebuilds. How do you have faith in Tua? He's just regressed every year. His head injuries, his body's breaking down. And Kyler's got ex-teammates telling Jets ownership, do not bring this guy in. This guy does not love football, does not care about football. He's a bad teammate. So nightmare if I was an Arizona or Miami fan. I don't see a future, especially in their division. So I feel bad for them. And, I guess Todd Monken's a horrible hire too by the Cleveland, but if we're going just 2, I would say Arizona, Miami. That just feels like total lost causes.
You ready for my take? I'm not a John Harbaugh guy.
That's fair. I mean, someone said he's a better looking Mike McCarthy, which I totally agree with. It's like we hype them up because they won a Super Bowl years and years and years ago, and that's carried them now for 15 years. So I agree with you. He's a little overrated.
I think he'll improve the culture. I think he'll make them better players. I think he'll keep them in more games. I clearly we have never been that impressed with his decision making in the game. More importantly, his offenses are pretty unimaginative, meaning he doesn't go out and hire guys that inspire a ton of confidence. And we saw that with the Ravens. I mean, he's had the single greatest weapon in the NFL for almost a decade. A guy who's won multiple MVPs, and consistently in the playoffs, they will do the exact opposite thing of what they need to do to win those games. And then he'll come out and defend the offensive coordinator and the play calling to the point where it's reportedly one of the reasons why he left is they wanted him to fire Todd Monken and he wouldn't do it. So I'm not a Harbaugh guy. I'm not that much of a believer. I actually think Mike McCarthy to the Steelers is more interesting. But the one that I love is Clint Kubiak to the Raiders. I mean, we saw it all season and we saw a lot of it in the Super Bowl. The guy was a magnificent play caller and took a very good talent in Sam Darnold and put him in positions to succeed. He's going to have Brock Bowers with the Raiders. He's going to have Ashton Genty with the Raiders. He's going to have Colton Miller, who missed most of the year as an offensive lineman for the Raiders, their best offensive lineman. He's going to have him back. And then they're going to get Fernando. Now, I'm not being crazy or irrational about what I think a rookie quarterback can do. But I do think if there's going to be any rookie quarterback who can marry with what Kubiak did, we saw a really, really good comp with Sam Darnold. So I like that choice. It gives it a little bit of shine and momentum in Las Vegas.
Yeah, for me, I'll go with Minter to the Ravens.
Love it.
I think they're trying to correct the errors of their ways, which is letting Mike McDaniels walk out that door. And, they know
McDonald. You mean Mike McDonald?
Mike McDonald, yes.
Yeah.
When they let one of the best defensive minds walk out that door. And Minter, you expect he is going to be that type of guy, right? Like he's going to be this great defensive mind that can come in and set up that franchise now defensively, because that's what's been missing with the Ravens, right? They just, the last 2 years, their defense has been subpar since he left. And, Minter might come in and totally change that, which is what they need. And, if it is over for Lamar, right? If he does get banged up again next year and they just can't rely on him once again, he's just inconsistent. That's the kind of coach you want to be in there evaluating quarterbacks going forward, because obviously this guy knows quarterbacks because he's such a great defensive mind. So I did really like that hire by the Ravens. And again, I like the hire because of how much I hate it. I'm going to go with Mike McCarthy. I hate the hire times 1,000. I can't believe they're going from Tomlin to McCarthy. So I have a history when I hate hires. Usually that's a great hire by that organization. So I'm going to go the other way on it, where Pittsburgh, they've been so great at hiring these coaches. Who am I to doubt them and question them? I did not understand that hiring at all. And I know he's a local guy and he absolutely loves Pittsburgh and he grew up rooting for them and all that noise. But this to me was bizarre. Minter, I thought would go to Pittsburgh. That to me felt like a Pittsburgh guy, a young, smart defensive mind, come in and be the coach there for 20 years. Instead, they went with a McCarthy, a journeyman now at this point. Bizarre hire. And especially the fact that after Rodgers leaves, now you're having Mike McCarthy evaluate your quarterback, and he's going to be the guy that's dictating your next quarterback. So I don't know where you're at with that one, but I like it because how much I hate it.
So my two favorites were Kubiak and Minter. Full stop. Super excited about those. My second tier was Saleh to the Titans. Stefanski intrigues me. Joe Brady feels uninspired and like the leftovers in Buffalo. For some reason, they couldn't get anything better. I don't know what the situation is there. I agree with you about McCarthy and the Steelers. They have always been a team that goes out and gets a super young talent, Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, Mike Tomlin, and then that person is in the job for 20 years. That's obviously not going to be Mike McCarthy at 62 years old or whatever it is. So it was interesting to me that they sort of went away from that. But the flip side is I do think he's a really good offensive coach. And we've seen what he can do when he has a semblance of a competent quarterback. And I think they're playing. I think they expect Aaron Rodgers to come back. I think they want to get as much juice out of the can as the end of that era with that defense. And this is going to give them the best opportunity to do it. I also think no one's ever going to stop going to Steelers games, but there are rumblings from that fan base about how unimaginative the offense has been and that it's been super hard to watch these games. And with McCarthy, at least you're getting a little bit more creativity and a little bit more offensive expertise. So I don't hate it. It's not in line with what they've done historically. It's not a forward-thinking, here's our future for the next 20 years coach, but I don't hate it. He's been a good coach and he's won He's won a lot of games.
That's fair. I'm super negative and down on him where I look at all the stuff he does in the playoffs. Chad's talking about how imaginative he is offensively. His offenses have always laid an egg in the playoffs between Aaron Rodgers, Dak, all these quarterbacks he's had.
John Harbaugh.
Yeah, that's fair. But I don't know if Harbaugh is as involved in the offense like McCarthy is, like we're talking here. And Pittsburgh fans, I get it. Being 500 every year and losing the first round of the playoffs probably got old, right? It was a long run. You guys might have, after this McCarthy run, 4 or 5 years, bottom of the barrel. You might become the Browns now. You might be 3-14, 4-15 every year. Like, again, I get why you need to change. I am worried about the way this Pittsburgh organization is going right now. So, I'm with you. I feel like the two best hires definitely Raiders and the Ravens. They knocked out the park. Kubiak. Excited to see what he can do with Fernando Mendoza.
Simon, it's like you're a professional podcaster because you just mentioned Cleveland. And one of the questions, what team is currently in the worst overall situation? Arizona, New York Jets, Cleveland Browns. I think it's got to be the Jets. I think with LaFleur in Arizona, you're getting a guy who's got a really good pedigree and you've got a fresh start. And even if you do try to figure out how to get rid of Kyler, you got Jacoby Brissett there. There's some semblance of something and you've got optimism. I think in Cleveland, terrible situation. It's on par with the Jets, but you still got an elite defense. And if Todd Monken can figure something out, you'll be in some games. I think the New York Jets are poisonous. I think it's one of the worst organizations in sports. I think they're desperate. I think they're grasping. I think they don't really know what they're doing. I think players don't want to play there. I think their ownership is sour. And their quarterback room right now is Justin Fields and I forgot who else. Tyrod Taylor?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. And they're not really in a position to get a good quarterback because it's not a front-loaded quarterback draft.
No, this is a horrible draft. Again, no disrespect for Fernando Mendoza. In a normal draft year, he's by no means a slam dunk number one.
Right.
Like he is not that. But I don't know how you don't pick Arizona. They're in a division with right now the 3 best top 5 coaches in the NFL, and Shanahan, McVay, and McDaniels. So, McDonald. I don't know what they can do. I just don't know how Arizona can get out of this. It's so bad. And, they did make the right move going from Rosen, obviously, to Kyler, but that was a bust, and it set them back. It's been a waste of 6-7 years. Yeah. And now they're going to have to do that once again. 6-7. So, yeah, it's a nightmare. Like we just said, I just can't get over how good their division is and the coaches. Where the Jets, I don't know if, as bad as it is for them, there is an avenue where they have all this draft capital now. They can get the coach, they can get the quarterback the next 3-4 years and change this thing. I don't see how Arizona does that the next 3-4 years. I don't know if a quarterback or the right coach can fix that team because that division is just so brutal. Fluky things happen. Can they steal a division? Sure. But them being consistent, like we've talked about the Seattle Seahawks and, them and the Eagles right now in the NFC, they're the 2 teams that have now won multiple Super Bowls in the last 10 years. Like they're the cream of the crop in the NFC, where the AFC has just been so dominated by the Chiefs and the Patriots. It's just hard for me to see like, I don't know. The Jets thing I'm with you on, but Arizona, of all the teams, I feel the most hope is just lost on that right now, which I don't want to beat them while they're down. I know they're the biggest losing organization in the history of the NFL, but my God, their ownership is just so bad.
Their ownership is terrible, by the way. The Bidwells. You know how they made all their money?
I do, but I forget.
Gambling.
Right.
Owned racetracks in Chicago. They worked closely with Al Capone. Very closely with Al Capone. And then ended up buying the Cardinals for like $500 on some deal on a yacht that the Bidwell patriarch owned. And he bought the Chicago Cardinals. Let's do a quick word from our friends at Hard Rock Bet. Today's show is brought to you by our presenting sponsor, Hard Rock Bet, Florida's sportsbook. I know it's tough with no football, but like the song says, I bet I will survive with Hard Rock Bet. There's always something to bet on every night. Hoops, hockey, and so much more, plus all the great same game parlay, live betting, and player prop options you're used to if you haven't signed up with Hard Rock Bet yet. There's never been a better time. New signups can double their winnings on their first 10 bets, max $50. That's right. If you would have won $100 on your bet, make that $200. The Hard Rock Bet Sportsbook app is the only legal sportsbook for whenever you're in Florida. And it's also live in Arizona, Ohio, New Jersey, Indiana, Tennessee, Virginia, Illinois, Colorado, and Michigan. Coming soon to more states too. Plus, Hard Rock Bet offers new promos daily. So whenever you're listening, just open the app and check out what you've got any day of the week. Download the Hard Rock Bet app and make your first deposit. A couple personal questions, one more football question. You know, Ben Solak put out an article this morning on ESPN.com about free agent QBs. We were just talking about the Cardinals, Daniel Jones, Malik Willis, Gardner Minshew, Kirk Cousins may be released. Kyler Murray is potentially available. Tua is potentially available. Nothing here feels exciting to me. The only one that feels remotely exciting that I'd be interested if my team got him and didn't have a quarterback, I guess, is Malik Willis. But you just said it about Kyler. Tua's pretty ineffective unless it was Mike McDaniels coaching him. So it feels like a desperation moment if you don't have a quarterback.
Yeah, like the Sam Darnold experiment obviously worked. But if Sam
he had won 14 games the year before, like he had shown some potential.
Sure, but I honestly, though, if you put Sam Darnold on the Arizona Cardinals this year, they win 5 games. He was not great this year. And like that, that played out, right? He had the most turnovers in the league. So they went to a super conservative offense. That's what the big change was for them. And, in the playoffs, he really didn't need to do much in the 49ers game. He was all world in the Rams game. That's why we give him so much credit. And then he wasn't so great in the Super Bowl. And that, to me, that is right aligned with a guy you could rank him from number 12 to number 20. Like, he is in that range of quarterback where on the right day, Sam Darnold can be a top 5 guy. On the wrong day, he can be a bottom 25 guy. And you're going to get a mixed bag with Sam Darnold. What's been consistent for him is he's had 2 years now where the Vikings had a top 3 defense and then Seattle had a top 3 defense. And if you're a team, we've talked about it in Minnesota that has a good defense with a great defensive mind in Flores, go out there, get a Mac Jones. Go out there and get a Malik. Like, go get someone to challenge JJ, because you got your number 1 receiver coming out there and just shitting on the kid. And now they've unfollowed each other on social media. And it's like, that's a whole can of worms, right? You do need to, if you're the Vikings, go out there, the new GM they bring in, and go get a guy that we've just talked about. Go trade for Mac, because Mac has 1 year left on his deal in the 49ers. Go make a deal, 4th round or whatever you need to do. Go get him. Same for Malik. Like, we both saw, like, he changed going from Tennessee to Green Bay. Like, you design an offense around him. We're using his legs, rolling him outside the pocket. He is a weapon. Now, can he hold up? I would say it's not looking great, where he basically had limited snaps, and he's had multiple little injuries in those limited snaps. So I'm with you, Chad. There's not much out there. Like that's normal, right? It's rarely anything out there. That's why Pittsburgh, they were fighting over Aaron Rodgers. That's how dark it was last year. So it's Sam Darnold, a very unique situation, and that was something that I wish I'd taken advantage of. I know we had fans reach out. They bet, I believe, 60-1 on the Seahawks when Geno Smith was still their quarterback. So you just never know.
You just never know. As Bill Murray said in Stripes, you just never know. Simon, we talked about this on Tuesday. You happily trolled all the Patriots fans with all their takes and all their chirping from the Super Bowl. Next season, they have a first place schedule. You assume Drake May will be healthy. Will Campbell will be healthy. They'll still have the same coaching staff. What is your prediction for next year when they have their first place schedule?
I would obviously expect a major regression. I mean, we've also seen the Super Bowl hangover.
Yes.
Is very real.
For the losing team, especially.
Yeah. Like the teams that can get away with it, they usually had Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes, and that was it. Any other team that didn't have those two guys usually have total meltdowns of the season. And last year, you saw that the Chiefs had their meltdown of the season, the first time ever. And what is it? It was the year after they lost the Super Bowl. So, I was being gracious, saying they could maybe get the 500, maybe become the 7th seed next year, just because the schedule is so brutal. Like, even going through it, I mean, they play your division, Chad. Your division is not easy by any metric. So, if you're the Patriots and I'm a fan of their team, I'd be over the moon. You have a 23-year-old quarterback, almost won MVP. You have two really good coaches, McDaniels, and obviously we know Vrabel's a genius. And when I look at their team and I say, well, they have $60 million in cap to spend. If Kraft's not cheap and spends that money, spend some on the offensive line, spend some more either on the D-line or a linebacker, they could easily win their division again. But I think we're both on the same page. We expect major regression. So I'm excited to see what the books hang their total at. I feel like a 9.5 would be right. But if it opens anything above that, if it opens at 10, hammer that under.
I wouldn't be surprised if they open at 10.5, given the hype. It wouldn't surprise me. All right. Those are our questions today. We're going to have more. As a reminder, we'll have new episodes of Sharper Square Tuesday, Thursday during the NFL season, except the last week of February. We're all taking 1 week off. This has been Sharper Square, part of the Volume Podcast Network. Watch or listen on YouTube at Sharper Square. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, download us from Spotify, Apple Pods, wherever you get your pods. Rate, review, subscribe, leave us 5 stars. Say whatever you want. Feedback is a gift until Tuesday. Love you.
Regulators, mount up. We're coming.